Emily, perfect. Before, some of you may have joined, Emily was like, if I say it out loud to remember to record, we're going to do it. And it worked like a charm. Excellent. Hello, everyone. I know folks are still going to be filing in as we go through today's meeting. Welcome. Happy February 23rd. Hopefully you got a chance to enjoy that brief spring-like respite, just to remind you that we have a long way to go in terms of the weather. Today, we're going to be talking about a couple of things. We're going to talk a bit about our assessment process indicators that we've identified, and Alex will provide us some information there, and you can ask questions of him before he has to depart. And then we'll also be talking about your role in helping us with the survey process and the community engagement process. Patty and Ebony have developed some excellent materials that we will be providing to you once the survey is out, so that you can promote the survey within your networks, explain to people what's going on. We ask that you help us out by posting it to your social media, incorporating it in any newsletters you send out, so on and so forth, because the more that we put out the message that we're conducting this work, the better off the work product is going to be. So we're going to try to equip you with all the tools to be able to do that and walk through some of that and discuss what's available. And then we have somewhat of a new announcement about who will be participating on our end with this work. But I'm going to save that as a surprise. So it should be a pretty good agenda. But for the most part, I think we'll get through this pretty quickly. So hopefully we can get you out a little bit early today. So with that, thanks for creating the time. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then we will get started. Okay. Great. Alex, I will be your remote control, as I like to say. Is it full screen?
Yep.
Great. All right. You may begin.
All right. Very cool. Well, if we could get over to the indicator slides. Fantastic. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alex. I'm a research associate here at Community Solutions, and I'm just going to give you just a real broad overview of some of the indicators that we're looking at to kind of shape some of this process, at least on the research side of things. And I'd like to take a moment to announce something that I know we're really excited about here over at CCS, and that is confirmation of the release of the new American Community Survey data. So this is a part of the census, and we've been waiting on this data for 2020 for a little while now. It was kind of held up. And that was in part due to some collection concerns during 2020 with the pandemic. However, really fantastic news. The census has told us that this new data will be released with uncompromised integrity, which is really fantastic, because what that data does is it gives us insight into so many things related to social determinants of health. Things including economic stability, neighborhood physical environment, education, healthcare, and all of these things are going to be indicators that we're going to look at when it comes to looking at Lakewood. So I mean, some examples of things that the ACS provides us include different types of occupations or industries that people work in, poverty status by age, sex, race, housing type, work commute, how are people getting to work, and on average, how long is that commute? Really some fantastic granular information and because Lakewood is comprised of one zip code, we can get that information specific to just the city of Lakewood. What else is really nice about that is with this data is we can use this information to make comparisons. So we can look at this information both for the city of Lakewood, but we can also look at this information for Cuyahoga County as a whole, or other similar geographies to Lakewood. And also we're pretty lucky in that I was doing a little bit of mapping just to kind of test some things out. And it kind of works out that the census tracts, which is one of the smallest ways you can get this information from the census, we can make proxies of the 4 wards in Lakewood. And what's nice about that is that means we can also get this information by ward in Lakewood. So not only will we have this information, these indicators by the city as a whole, but for a lot of these indicators, we should be able to break it down to solid approximations of the 4 different wards within Lakewood as well. So I know I'm really excited about this. This opens up a treasure trove of information when it comes to looking at these indicators in Lakewood. Some other sources of data, some other indicators that we're exploring right now is we're interested in looking at chronic disease. Emily, Lauren, and I have been working with the Cleveland Clinic Foundation to perhaps get some information there, as well as using the Summit County Public Health Dashboard to kind of inform some of these chronic disease indicators. And some other local data that we've been able to source, which will inform these indicators, include incident reports in the City of Lakewood, City of Lakewood school curriculums, emissions data, and of course the survey data that we've been spending a lot of time putting together. So again, just really high level information, but these are some of the indicators that we're currently putting together to help with this process. I'd be happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Yeah, so does anyone have any questions about the data approach that we have so far, or any thoughts, concerns, issues? Okay, it sounds like you did a great job, Alex. Silence is acceptance in this regard. So thank you for that. If anyone has any additional questions, feel free to reach out to myself or Alex or Emily. We're more than happy to answer those questions. And then more than that, next month we will be reviewing our community engagement process, discussing what we believe our approach will be, the modalities to conduct that engagement, virtual, in person, so on and so forth, and then the different tools that will be at our disposal to effectuate that work. So we'll continue to plug along with some of this, but if you have any questions, again, just follow up with us. So thank you, Alex. Appreciate that that explanation and that review. Next, I'd like to hand it over to my colleagues, Patty and Ebony. So as I described, sort of at the top of the hour, so to speak, and I just want to make sure that we are good to go. Is everyone seeing this the right way? It looks weird on my end.
Looks fine.
Okay. So I think what's really important here is that we're going to need all of your help to get the word out about our work and the work of the advisory committee and the steering committee and of this effort generally. So to assist with that, we wanted to make it simple and we wanted to make it easy. So Patty and Ebony have developed some tools that they will review with you now. So I'll stop talking and hand it over to the two of them.
Thanks, Lauren. You can just pop on over. We just have one slide to look at. Wanted to just kind of give you a preview of the package that Lauren alluded to. We talked today in the team meeting about like, when should you get it? And we're just going to wait until the survey is out. So if you're not seeing anything after this, you haven't missed anything until the survey is actively out in the community, because I know how things get buried in an inbox. So I'm actually going to be kind of toggling a little bit, because this is sort of what you guys are seeing is sort of the survey slide. Essentially what Ebony and I did was take that first document that we prepared for you a long time ago, just to kind of like introduce, here's how you talk about it. If you're like the one that had the QR codes on it, so if you're going to go to an event and you want to be able to invite people, I think actually the events thing died pretty quickly when Omicron kind of came to the fore. But that same kind of document, we just sort of repackaged it and pulled it apart into bits we can use for communications and social media. So what you're kind of looking at here, this is, what we have prepared are, 4 posts that can be useful for either Facebook or LinkedIn, 3 tweets with 2 hashtags. One we unearthed and one is newly developed. some new, like a longer newsletter copy. Like if you have a, you want to do like an announcement sort of copy, we'll have that going out in the City of Lakewood mayoral newsletter as well here pretty soon. Dave and I are getting that firmed up this week. And then just some other kind of communications pieces, parts. So if you're like, okay, we want to send out an email, but we've already done some social. So what's another way I can say a thing? Because you know how engagement, if you do it too repetitiously, it gets really, really low. So we just wanted to kind of give you either put a bow on it. You can use this exactly as it is, and it'll be perfect. Or take this, make it your own, tag either some people or some other organizations and kind of, customize it a little bit. We wanted to give you a starting point. This actually, some of these slides, I'm going to take a look, or some of these little cards here. These are formatted for Instagram. So I'm going to be changing these. I'll probably do like a more Facebook appropriate size, and then a Twitter one, which will be longer. Something that will be changing is this language on the first one that has the Lakewood mural. More than 60% of our health is determined by where we live. That will be the leader on all of the cards. There are 8 of them, kind of focusing on, we tried to hit as many possible cohorts as we could, and like keep it diverse and have people feel welcome, that their perspective is needed. So that's kind of what the graphics look like. The webpage I have, it has been reformatted, but I'm actually going to take, in order to help with the kind of usability of it, take some of this content and start plugging it in there. So you might start seeing some changes on the webpage too. I want to kind of scroll down and see if there's anything else. Yeah, I think that's sort of the, the survey of it, what you will be getting on the kind. This is sort of like, included will be like IKEA, these things, and I won't include a Allen wrench, I promise. QR code, so Marilee, what are you thinking? Where would you want to do a QR code?
So just thinking, so first I think, I know that will be disseminated through social media, but I love this, having it printed and having it in the format of a flyer. So that's where I foresee it being, purposeful to create a QR code, where it says subscribe to learn more.
Yes, actually that's something that, we can get, this is sort of a starting point. So if we think that, like I know here in Cleveland Heights, University Heights, we have the library has the big, monitors, and you can kind of get on there and have something. So if we need to design something of that size, or if there's more information on there they want to include, and if somebody, wants to either give me the information of who to talk with, or if you have a contact there, I'm happy to do that. And actually I have somewhere in another draft, a version we can, I started on a version we can print. So that makes sense for a printed one. I just was curious for a digital, but absolutely, we want to have it be like, if you put this up in your local coffee shop, people should be able to act on it. And I wanted to mention, because this came up in the steering committee meeting, Lauren, I think you mentioned the consoles.com/Lakewood. That actually is the active one, because that's the short link. So I just tested it a couple minutes ago. The Lakewood Health is the long one that we have. So, so that's, if you were to, type this in, this will get you to the right spot. I don't know if Ebony had anything to add, or we can just open up the field to questions.
No, you covered it all.
Okay.
And I'm really thankful for that.
Great. Yeah, so thank you, Patty and Ebony, for this. Our hope, again, is we want to hand something off to you that you can use to promote the work. So, it's Lakewood specific. We will have copy to help facilitate what we think is appropriate and useful messaging along these lines. I'd also like to highlight a couple of things. So a short link versus the long link, communitysolutions.com/Lakewood Health will work. So will comsols.com/Lakewood. So both links work. So you can share that. I'd also highlight, if there are events that you know of that are coming up in the city of Lakewood, and you would like them staffed, or you would like a flyer, let us know about that. We'd like to provide you with the right sorts of resources so that you can get what you need, and so we can promote this effort. The last thing I'll mention is not everyone is going to get a survey, right? And not everyone, no one's going to be able to request the full survey. And we discussed this a bit last time, but it's important to highlight here that we want to make sure that the data is sound and that our process is sound. So we can't have folks maybe disproportionately represented in our random sample survey. That being said, if there is a specific group or voice that you feel we need to touch base with, whether that's an individual or we need to conduct a focus group, reach out to us. We want to be able to make that connection. We want to be able to meaningfully incorporate that feedback. And I would also want to remind everyone here, as we conduct the survey, we're going to be able to monitor who is responding, where they're responding from, some of the background information of respondents. So if we're starting to see gaps, that's where we'll try to activate our convenience survey work and ask all of you for some help making those meaningful connections. So we want to make sure that we're doing what I can to make it easy for you, and that's so that people are informed and that we get as robust feedback as possible in our process. So thanks, Ebony. Thanks, Patty, for your work. If you have any questions about the copy, if you have any questions about other communications materials, once the survey gets out, let us know. We're here to help and serve this effort. So one little other note regarding the survey, we had a goal of the 25th to finalize our approach, and I think we're going to be good. The survey is readable. Way to go, Alex and Emily, for doing all that. We are currently seeking out bids for printers so that we can get these distributed. I think it's fair to say by the time we meet next month, the survey will be out in the community. So that means between now and when we next meet, you will likely see messages from us to let you know, A, the survey is out, and B, here are all the communications materials that you need. So if there are any questions about that as we unroll our effort, just let us know. All right. So we'll keep going. Like I said, try to be efficient today. Let's see here. All right. So some next steps. First of all, I want to highlight something new. This is the surprise that I mentioned. So some of you may already know this, but one of the things that we indicated when we applied to the city of Lakewood for community solutions to conduct this work was the relationship that I had with Ohio University's Heritage College of Medicine. Students at Lakewood Family Medicine participate in the program where I teach, and they work on quality improvement, and they develop community-based population health interventions. After some discussion, two of the students are going to be working with CCS to help build our capacity. So what this means is we'll be able to be out at more events, we'll be able to knock on more doors, we'll be able to conduct more work with this contract. And then after we are done engaging, some of the action plan will be able to be developed and facilitated in actual clinical practice. Now, obviously, these students are only within one particular provider space, but my hope is that with their engagement, what we can do is we can design some lessons learned and some action plan steps that can be exported to multiple environments. So whether it's Signature Health or UH or Metro Health, the students and the lessons that they are sort of garnering about ways to translate the CHNA and action plan into something meaningful in the community for community health can be used regardless of setting and regardless of location. So you're likely going to see Vanessa on the left and Rebecca on the right join us at some of these meetings. You might see them at events. And honestly, I think it's great that we'll have some more support to be able to conduct this work and increase our ability to get out into the community and help with this effort. Some other steps. Okay, so we had talked about finalizing the survey communications and the survey materials by the 25th, but we feel pretty good about that. We're just waiting on the final steps with the printing. We're going to develop our community engagement strategy. So next time we convene, we're going to offer our plan for how we want to conduct community engagement. A lot has changed over the last few months, and a lot still may change between now and when we next meet in terms of how we want to deliver or go about doing community engagement work. Obviously, we want to make sure that people are safe and healthy. We want to make sure that there are multiple modalities available to individuals, so that if virtual is better, we pursue virtual and make that available. If in person is better, we can make that available. And we also want to hear from you. So if there are particular constituencies you think we need to touch base with, particular individuals we need to interview, let us know. We want to get involved and make sure that this represents your advice, because you are the advisory committee. We're also going to start our data analysis. So Alex reviewed our indicators. We have lots of data coming from the city of Lakewood. Thank you, Dave. We're going to start conducting that work. So as we see patterns emerge, or as we see new information become available, we may ask for your help or ask for your advice or help hone in on some ideas that will be meaningful as we translate this into the action plan at the end of the summer. And then obviously the potential higher university collaboration. This is me just adding a bullet point that I had last week that fully converted into something that is taking place. So you already heard about that. It's going to be useful to us moving forward. But that's it. We had a tidy agenda today. We're doing a lot of the work. So I think I will just pause here and see if any committee members have any questions, anything that we would like to discuss about our next steps, about the communications plan, or the indicators.
Yeah, it works. So, Lauren, have you thought about engaging students from the Lakewood itself in the process, the way we're engaging the Ohio U students? So some identified students from Lakewood and also some other universities around Lakewood.
Yeah, I think to your first point, right, because those are two different constituencies in some ways. Adolescents, youth are an area that we feel like we'll need to conduct some level of focus group around. And because it makes sense, right? I mean, if you're 16, it's unlikely that you own a home or that you have your own apartment. So you're not going to be represented in our survey. So that's where we're going to need some help from Lakewood City Schools or other organizations to talk about youth engagement. I know that there's a particular individual on the anti-racism task force who's been involved in that work that we talked to about working with to help develop that. So that is definitely an intentional effort of ours in terms of who we would like to talk to. Regarding other colleges and universities and folks who attend higher education who may participate, I think that's a little bit different in that, number one, they might be more likely if they're residents to own their own home or rent or that sort of thing. But if there are particular constituencies, especially because you are in higher education, that you think is useful for us to make a connection with, whether that's a group of folks or if that's a particular individual who might be focused in the city of Lakewood and that population, we want to hear who those individuals or that individual may be, and we will make sure to make that connection. It's a good question. Emily, Matilda, am I missing anything on that, or did I summarize that okay?
No, I think you hit all the main points.
Great. Anything else? Okay. I know it's like gray and it's cold and we're on another Zoom call, but the good news is, right, we're moving forward. We have a lot of good work, and we've already conducted a lot of good work. So here's what I would like to just highlight, sort of reiterating the point. The next time we meet, the survey will be out in the community. We will be sending you a communication package, and we ask for your help in disseminating information about this effort. Last and most importantly, you are the advisory committee, so you are the group that is to help us identify where we're missing voice in the community. So if you think of individuals we need to talk to, if you think about constituencies that absolutely need to be incorporated into this process, if we're missing anything, let us know. We will do the work to make those connections and have those voices represented. And that doesn't just happen over the next 4 weeks, that's going to happen throughout the rest of our process. So hold us accountable to your expectations about what this assessment needs to look like. so that we can have a meaningful action plan moving forward. Okay. All right, listen, half an hour for an advisory committee ain't a bad thing, I think. So it seems like we're doing well. If you need anything, you know where to find us. We will be posting these materials online in case you want to re-review them. And if there's anything else that you need from us, please let us know. Okay, that's it. Have a good rest of your afternoon. Enjoy your time back. Take care, everyone.
Thanks.